您跟上啊！你想我可以偏一点。我们的 sign， 我们希望我们的想法也能被别人看到。
College campuses in the United States have always been flashpoints for political movements, from protests against the Vietnam War in the 1960s and 70s to the anti-climate change movement of today. In the past decade, international students have become a large and more integral part of universities across the U.S. It is changing the college experience and giving a political voice to a more international group of undergrads. The number of international students studying in the U.S. hit an all-time high in the 2018-2019 academic year, with over 1 million international students studying across the country. Over a third of those students came from China. Some mainland Chinese students at U.S. college campuses have capitalized on the greater freedoms they have outside of China to speak more openly or even organize demonstrations on campus. And it's not always in favor of their government back home. In 2018, Chinese students at some universities in the U.S. spoke out against the removal of term limits for China's president, Xi Jinping. But Chinese students have also come out to defend China, especially in the face of the Hong Kong protest movement last year. Here, at Johns Hopkins University in Baltimore, a speech in February by Hong Kong activists Joshua Wong and Nathan Law drew anger from Chinese international students.
So right now you're on our main campus. We have like two sides, and then over there is like the undergraduate residence. So I live right there. I've been in the United States since 8th grade. That was in 2014. So this is my 6th year in the United States. Tonight we have two speakers coming. They're Hong Feng or Joshua Wong and Nathan Law, and we are organizing a protest.
Joshua Wong and Nathan Law are activists from Hong Kong's pro-democracy movement, which has angered many Chinese people in the mainland, who view them as part of a separatist movement.
So when I heard from a group chat that they're coming, I think this is a really big deal for me, as the school is really not putting into attention that what they're really doing in Hong Kong. The ideology they're spreading is very dangerous for Chinese people and other peoples. So it's first separatism, and also they're promoting violence in Hong Kong, which is not what they say to people. They say that they're peaceful protesters. It's more of a personal duty to my morals and ethics, that if someone in another country is bullying our country and bullying our people, then we should stand out for them. Even though we're foreigners here, we're kind of the voice of our country. So our country doesn't have a power to reach here and then do propaganda or anything. Just like the United States can reach into our country and do propaganda. So it all depends on what us do here as foreigners.
They're very young and their voices are developing, and oftentimes those loudest voice gets largest attention. You don't really see those kinds of political engagement on mainland campus, largely because they can't. So this open protest oftentimes is definitely encouraged more because they see their American peers are doing that. To some extent, I think American higher education has awakened or even help them to engage politically or to be more politically aware. This issue of Hong Kong, I think, has largely mobilized Chinese international students.
Would you publicly denounce the extreme violence against the mainlanders and the policeman families? Would you denounce those violence publicly? Would you denounce that? maybe you say you are not a leader, but would you denounce it?
I do not agree that kind of violence. I do not agree that you could burn someone alive. But the most important thing is, what concerns me is the abuse of state violence. We're not asking them to burn Hong Kong. And if you could identify any of the 5 demands, there is any component embedded in it, please say it. I give you a chance. Can you name it?
The 5 demands?
Yeah, can you name any elements of Hong Kong independence in 5 demands?
But I just wonder, do you think that fighting for human rights or democracy in the name, like by violating and disregarding other people's human rights, is that a right thing to do?
So as a Taiwanese American, I understand the importance of democracy, especially protecting democracy in Asia. And so when we heard that there was a petition against hearing Nathan Law and Joshua Wong on campus on the basis of free speech, I found that extremely hypocritical. I would like to say, from my own conversations with mainland Chinese students on campus, it would seem that a lot of them do really believe in what the party is saying. While they have the freedom to protest, they have the freedom to talk, we also have the freedom to counter-protest, and that's exactly what we did here tonight.
While the global coronavirus pandemic has made it harder for people to gather for mass protests, it's also brought to light the stark political and ideological differences between the US and China, setting up a future that might see more protests like these.